Hi, welcome back to BizJet TV. It's Fab Poli here, and today I want to talk to you about why the private jet needs to be private. Before we launch into the video, I would just like to talk to you about a fantastic watch that AV8 sent me today. As you can see it here, it's a really, really nice watch. You can see the link to their website. They've got a whole collection of aviator watches. Really, really nice watches. Great quality with a nice leather strap here, as you can see. Lovely design. They've got lots of different designs and that, so I highly recommend you have a look at their website because great watches, great value for money. Anyway, let's get into the whole issue of the private jet private. Now, you've probably heard me say this on a number of videos. Now, when you buy a private jet and you're going to travel by private jet, often enough, most of the time, the reason is that you need it for business. Now, depending on what type of business you're in, there are some people which really need to show everybody that they have a private jet, and they film every single time they get on the jet. But that's part of their branding, that's part of their business plan, which is fine. But if you are a different type of person, and this is who I'm really addressing here, if you need a private jet for business, but you want to keep the fact that you're traveling private, there's a number of things that you need to do. Now, the first thing is when you acquire the jet, that you make sure that the jet is owned by a special purpose vehicle company. So you need to set one of these companies up. A lot of people, what they do, and you know, when people do business with me, I can help you and guide you through this process and make sure that this is set up this way. You get this set up, usually in an offshore entity like the Isle of Man or Guernsey or Cayman Islands or BVI, one of these locations. You set the company up, you set an account up, then the airplane is actually bought by that company and owned by that company. So that's the first thing. So it doesn't appear in your name. The other thing you need to do is register the airplane. So the registration of the airplane, which is like the license plate on a car, it needs to be registered somewhere like Cayman Islands, Guernsey, Isle of Man. And it doesn't necessarily mean that if the company that owns the airplane is registered, let's say in the Cayman Islands, that the airplane needs to be registered there. Now, the airplane can be registered somewhere else, okay? So there's two pieces of filter. The other thing is, don't put any logos or don't paint the airplane in strange colors, whatever, so it can be noticed. I mean, the usual thing that a lot of people do, white airplane with a couple of stripes. Registered in Guernsey, then you go out, you hire the pilots. The other thing, in order to keep your private jet private, I recommend that your pilots fly in plain clothes and not in uniform, because what happens when they get somewhere and they go to the hotel, very often, and this has happened to me a number of times, as a pilot, you turn up in a hotel with your nice uniform on and people start asking questions. And you always get asked a question, what airline do you fly for? And if you're not flying for an airline, you're flying a private jet, the next question is, oh, who do you fly for? Even if people don't ask you questions, there are people that hang about in airport lobbies, and if any of you have done any aviation security courses, you know this, or if any of you are into security or have a background in that, you know that there are people that hang about in hotel lobbies and they watch the new people come in and check in, and they see what type of bags they have, how they dress, what shoes they wear. And when crew come in, and a lot of crews are coming in all the time into hotels, they know that they're going to stay there for maybe a couple of days and they're going to go out and spend money, and so they'll watch you. And this happened to a colleague of mine in Barcelona. Well, he wasn't with me at the time. Arrived in the hotel, went up, changed, came down in his jeans and t-shirt, went out. He got followed by some guys, got banged on the head and mugged, and his money and wallet was taken. I'm sure they'd been in the lobby and they'd been watching him from the minute he arrived. They saw he was a pilot. They knew he was going to go shopping. He had money. They followed him and they took what they needed to take. If you are a private jet owner and you are operating in and out and moving around and maybe on a 5-6 day trip where there's a lot going on, lots of meetings, one behind the other in different cities, different countries, maybe even different continents, the last thing you want is one of your pilots to be knocked on the head somewhere in an alley, end up in hospital or killed or who knows what. So you want your crew to be low profile. Not only is flying plain clothes important, but it's also important for your crew to have a certain type of training, to understand how they have to behave when they're out and about and they're so-called away on duty. They need to stick together. They mustn't wander off on their own, especially if you've got female pilots or female cabin crew. You want them to always be close to somebody. You want them to know how to defend themselves, how to spot threats, and all this kind of thing. These are all things that's important that your crew are trained in so that your whole operation can stay private, stay low profile, so you can go in and out quick, kind of under the radar. And that's really the important thing. And this allows you, the ownership of your private jet and the operation of your private jet, to stay as private as possible, which allows you to safely move around the world with speed, with flexibility, and hopefully get those deals done before somebody else does. So if you want to know more about private jets and private jet going private, if you want a private consultation with me, my email is below. Just ping me a message and I'll schedule you in. Otherwise, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, and remember to check out these lovely watches from AV8. That's all from Fab Poli at BizJet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.